Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to my channel, I Hate Rock Music. And today I want to talk about Steve Tuke. And first off, my apologies. I continue to call him sometimes Peter Tuke in videos I've done about Shagrat, for example. And I think it just rolls off my head, rolls out of my head because of the connection with Peter Tork from the Monkees. So I apologize for that. I'm getting old now and my wires get crossed. But anyway, let's get right into it. Steve Tuke in 1972 recorded a bunch of sessions. They've been released. And it's kind of a sad commentary about Steve Tuke and all his wonderful work that a lot of it didn't get released in his lifetime. And it's a lot of really quality work. And he's kind of up there with Syd Barrett in a way, and hence why sometimes he's called the Crazy Diamond, because he really was a rock and roll genius in his way. And his work with Shagrat is really pretty incredible. If it had been fully realized, it would have been an amazing record. And then, of course, he was involved in a second version of the Pink Fairies with Twink back in 1969. Short-lived band, and there's no recordings of that version of the Pink Fairies. But of course, Steve Tuke was also in the original Tyrannosaurus Rex band with Mark Bolan, and most noted on the records, of course, was his percussion, but he's also a multi-instrumentalist. And producer Tony Visconti speaks very highly of Steve Tuke and all his abilities as a vocalist and a multi-instrumentalist. And he was pushed out of Tyrannosaurus Rex because he wanted to do some of his songs and contribute more, which would have been great, but Mark Bolan put the axe to that, and so he left Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then shortly after that formed Shagrat. And so in 1972, one could potentially call this a second version of Shagrat, although I've never heard it referenced that way. 1972, he did a bunch of sessions that have been released with the Pink Fairies as his backup band, and it's really quality work. It's amazing it never got released, and it just seems to be Steve Tuke's burden that he made all this great music with Shagrat and the Pink Fairies and his group Horns, and none of it was released in his lifetime. And it's great stuff. It really shows that he definitely is the real deal and a psychedelic warrior. And I guess his drug problems and his frequent use of LSD really kind of made him a liability in a lot of situations. But I agree. I think he's a genius, and I've pored over his work over the years and recently, and I'm just convinced that he definitely was a giant. So these recordings in 1972, an incredible backup band, all Pink Fairies people, Duncan Sanderson and Russell Hunter and Larry Wallace from the Pink Fairies. Twink was involved, Mick Wayne from the Junior's Eyes, and the 1972 guitars for the Pink Fairies. And then on one track is credited to Crazy Diamond, which is Syd Barrett. And we know that Steve Tuke was friends with Syd Barrett, and so he makes a cameo appearance on this record as well, although it's hard to distinguish exactly who and what is going on in that. But that particular tune is called Sid's Wine, and I'll be posting that below along with the other stuff. But incredible. Steve Tuke and the Pink Fairies did a number of tunes, Sid's Wine, Mr. Discreet, Amanda, Blind Owl Blues, and a batch of other songs. And like I say, I'll post those below so that you can check them out. But great stuff, just really great stuff. And it's really great that he did these sessions, and it's really great that he worked with the Pink Fairies to do these sessions. And it's just excellent work all the way around. And 2 years after that, he had a couple other bands, including Adrian Shaw, the bassist who went on to Hawkwind, and Dave Bidwell, who he played with in the latter version of Shagrat. and was also in the band Savoy Brown and Chicken Shack. And it's unfortunate that there's no recordings so far of those 74 bands that Steve Took had, because not only was he playing with Adrian Shaw and Dave Bidwell, but he had a couple of amazing Japanese guitars, Isuki Takahashi and Hiroshi Kato. And they did record 4 songs. Um, and Hiroshi Kato used to be in a Japanese band called Group Sounds and started out as a jazz guitar player. So it's really cool that Steve Took got to hook up with these really amazing musicians with all his projects. And once again, it shows that it's really a shame that he didn't end up with more product and a much higher profile, because it's great stuff. So, so as I say, Steve Took, 1972. Check him out. The sessions below. Great stuff, and great band that he's playing with, and just incredible. All the musicians he played with, as I mentioned. And so I guess I don't have much more to say about the 1972 sessions. You just have to hear them for yourself. But again, Steve Took was a rock and roll genius, the real thing, a psychedelic warrior, and he's a legend as it is. But he would be a much better known legend if all this material hadn't taken 20 or 30 years to appear. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.